Well, I'll go down to my panel to debate this, Cenk Uygur, Joe Walsh, and Emily Schrader. Let me start with you, Joe Walsh, because you were giving me a bit of hammer on X, formerly Twitter, yesterday, because I tweeted in reaction to what had happened that I wanted Israel to show restraint, and I feared that Netanyahu wouldn't do that. Now, just to clarify what I meant, I didn't mean there should be no response. I just wanted that response not to be just going all guns blazing into Iran, because I genuinely fear that might accelerate this.
It's really insane to ask restraint from a country that is being attacked with 300 drones and missiles. Doesn't that sound kind of like that you're missing something? Like, do you think other countries will be asked to show restraint while they're being attacked by another nation state, by another government? It's bizarre. Like, your country, and especially a country, I think any other country, if they were asked to show restraint after they were attacked in such a way by another country, they will respond to go, F yourselves. Like, what the hell are you talking about? We were just attacked. So I think it's insensitive to ask any country. I mean, yeah, every country should find reasonable measures to defend itself and advertise its deterring capabilities. But I think it shows some level of extreme bias when you are asking that from any country while they're being attacked. That doesn't seem like the right time to mention that. Also, but it's especially insensitive asking that from Israel, because again, I like to remind people here and everywhere I go, when other countries get attacked, it's devastating because their border integrity and the security of their citizens are being challenged. But when it comes to Israel, when Israel is being attacked, it's not just its border integrity or the security of its people that are being challenged. It's the entirety of their country. It's their existence. It's whether they get to remain a country or not a country. That is what is being challenged. So for such a country to be surrounded by so many enemies, hundreds of millions of people who would like to get 5 minutes of their way with the Jew, and that's their dream. One of their dreams in their life is for them to be able to get their hands on a Jew at some point. It's the wet dream of hundreds of millions of people surrounding Israel, for Israel to end one day, right? So for such a country in such a harsh neighborhood, while being attacked by a nation like this hasn't happened to Israel for a very long time. Israel has been attacked by militias a lot, like Hezbollah, Hamas, Houthis, Kataib Hezbollah, all these other Islamic Jihad, all these other proxies of the Iranian regime. But it has been a minute or so since they have been attacked by the army of an actual country. This has been many young Israelis have not witnessed this. Only their parents and their grandparents have witnessed such a thing. So it brings back memories of those days that we wondered if Israel gets to remain a country. So given those realities, given that Israel is basically trying to, exist, asking Israel to show restraint at such a time, it just seems like you don't, read the room, kind of Let's continue.
Into a much more catastrophic situation. But you feel very strongly, don't you?
Okay, so Piers Morgan is saying that Israel should show restraint so that we don't go into a catastrophic situation. Here's the thing. If Israel doesn't respond strong, that gets us to a catastrophic situation. You know why? Israel needs to respond strongly to the Iranian regime? Because if you don't, you're encouraging that behavior. You're basically saying that, hey, let's just allow countries to throw missiles at us. I mean, the Biden administration contacted Israel, contacted Netanyahu, and they were like, "Hey, you guys managed to stop all the missiles and all the drones. I mean, you didn't have 99% of them, and you didn't have any casualties. That's a win already. You don't need to respond. That's a win already. How is that a win already? If you are saying that I defeated you simply because I defended myself very effectively, that means you're signaling to your enemies that you get to try again. That doesn't make any sense because there's no consequences to them. Your defense mechanism should be advertising your deterrent capabilities, not just neutralizing the attack. Neutralizing the attack is only the first part. The second part is reaction, so that your enemy doesn't try this again. If you neutralize an attack and then don't respond, your enemy was like, okay, then we can try this as many times as we want because they're not going to respond. That's insane. Every country's main every government, every single government main responsibility, the priority of every government everywhere should be to advertise their deterrent capabilities. There's no other duty of a government that is higher than this in priority. Beyond the rights and freedoms and healthcare and education, roads, whatever, water, whatever the government does for you, they're number one, number two, number three. Duty of every government in every country is to advertise their deterrent capabilities to other countries. And if that's true for every other country, it's 1,000 times more true for Israel. So, I don't understand. Oh, you were successful in stopping this attack. That's enough. That is not enough. That is weak. That is pathetic. You need to hit back, and you need to hit back strong, so your enemy learns that there will be consequences. All right, let's continue.
You can tell that you believe Israel is always the one when it gets attacked that is urged to show restraint, and they shouldn't be told to do that.
Pierce, really good to be with you. And I apologize if in my Twitter response to you, if I got personal. I apologize. I didn't mean it. My beef wasn't with what you said, that Israel should show restraint, because I actually agree with that. My beef was the timing of that tweet and so many others. Israel was under attack. The the alarms were going off in Jerusalem. Missiles were raining down on Israel. And it just didn't seem, Pierce, like that was the proper time, while Israel is being attacked, to come out and say Israel needs to show restraint.
Okay, but I have a problem with the timing and the message as well. Because if by showing restraint, you're saying that Israel shouldn't attack, make an attack, make a response, make a counterstrike on Iranian soil, then regardless of the timing, that is insane. That is pathetic. That is weak. When you get hit, you have to respond, and you have to respond strong. You have to respond stronger than the attack that you received. That is a recipe for peace. And I don't know, people are insane. They think that you get peace by not doing any war. The greatest amount of peace that we have achieved is through war, is through crushing the people who want instability, the governments or the militia who are increasing instability, who are warmongers. You have to crush them. You have to defeat them. You have to show them that when they hit, there will be a response. You get peace through war. You get peace through crushing your enemies. You've always, look at history. Look at what happened. Look at Japan. Look at Germany after Japan and Germany after World War II. Look at Egypt and look at Jordan after Israel crushed them. Israel defeated them in war. What happened? They signed peace treaties. You don't get war. You don't get peace through submitting to anybody who wants more war. If somebody is an instigator and you don't respond to them, that's how you get more war. This is so basic. I don't know why people think like whoever's shooting, whoever's like bombing and whoever's shooting a missile, they must be the cause of war. No, they are. Sometimes they're actually, that's the force to end wars.
Agree with the sentiment of what you said. I just didn't think it was the proper time until we knew, Pierce, how many of those missiles might have gotten through and or killed Israelis.
Right, fair enough. Let me go to Cenk. Cenk, it's very complex situation, this. In fact, the whole regional issues are very complex. And we have, of course, at the same time, the situation in Gaza. But Cenk, when you see what Iran did to Israel, what do you think Israel's response should be?
Okay, what do you guess what he's going to say? Guess what he's going to say? Because I've been saying on this channel that these anti-Israeli types, these far leftist people, a lot of them, the only thing that Israelis or Jews can do for them to be satisfied is just to take it. It's just to die. It's just to, by the way, YouTube, that's not my words. That's the only thing that they accept. The only thing. So there's no response from Israel that these people will not condemn. There's only one thing that they will not condemn. If Jews just let other people kill them, that's all. That's the only thing they accept. They accept nothing more. Just let other people attack you and do nothing. That is the standard that they have for Israel. So with that in mind, let's see what Cenk has to say.
Their response should be nothing.
Have I not been telling you this? Have I not been telling you this, guys? For ever since October 7th, has this not been a consistent theme on this channel, that this is the only things they would accept? Mm-hmm. He just spelled it out for you. Like, I didn't even need to interpret anything. Okay, Israel was attacked with 300 drones and missiles, and the response, according to Cenk, which I don't know why it's spelled with a C, is to do nothing. Nothing, he says. Amazing. Amazing. What other country do we say that to? What other country do we expect to do nothing in response to an attack on its soil? Why is Israel so special when it comes to these standards and these expectations? I wonder, what is it about it? I mean, they would not admit it, but what is it about Israel that makes people globally hold it to such standards? Does it have to do, because if it's anything else, I could show you other countries have that. It must be, I think it must be, that they're Jews. Okay, let's continue.
Their response should be nothing. They should leave well enough alone. Joe Biden, with a rare victory here in being right about the situation, de-escalate right now. Israel obviously started this. And by that, I don't mean we can get into, oh my God, they're proxies and the Hamas, but then the occupation, and we can go all the way back to 1948. What I mean specifically is they attack Iran basically on its home soil by attacking the consulate, killing their top general, etc.
Okay, first of all, it's not even a freaking consulate. Okay, stop calling it a consulate. There was an embassy, and there was surrounding building. They just called it a consulate. They're calling it a consulate, even though it's not. It was not being used. It wasn't for consulate activity. They were making military plans to attack Israel. You had some of the top generals of the Islamic Republic, the Iranian regime, meeting with in that building at that time with heads of their proxy groups, their militias. I mean, not the type of activity you would expect to see in a consulate. And whether or not you want to call it a consulate, you lose the protection under international law if you are using it for military activity. So it's all fair, fair game to hit, whether you want to call it a consulate or not. You don't just get to just label buildings consulates and be able to do military activity in it and then ask nobody to hit it because I just called it a consulate. You're making military plans to attack Israel, but they're supposed to like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know you labeled this building a consulate. That's not how it works. That's not how anything works, right? So, and again, it's questionable whether it was even a consulate. And it wasn't even if it was a consulate, what they're saying is usually applies to embassies. And imagine saying that, oh, by the way, so they think Iranian government, Iranian regime is justified to attack Israel because they hit the consulate, which is insane because the Iranian regime has attacked Israeli embassies for decades, and killed civilians, not military staff. So were those declarations of war, Cenk? Would you consider those to be declarations of war? Because if we apply your standard, then we could say that Israel has had the right to go full on, full frontal war against the Iranian regime, given how many attacks on its embassies it has carried out for the past couple of decades. Guys, this is important you see the double standard here. Cenk is saying that the Iranian government attacking Israeli, an attack on Israel soil makes sense. It's understandable because the Israeli government attacked a consulate filled with military staff, top generals. But that doesn't apply the other way around, because the Iranian regime has made many attacks, has had many attacks throughout history on Israeli embassies and Israeli civilians in many places, in Turkey, in Cyprus, in Europe, just for being Israeli, or sometimes just for being Jews. The double standard is not. Nothing explains this double standard other than the Jewish factor. Do you not agree with me? Can somebody challenge me on this point? The double standard is because they're Jews.